Stupid movie again. Hi. Hello and welcome to The Jib. This bi-weekly podcast is about the many and varied schemes of the many and varied US law enforcement and intelligence agencies, organizations, and committees, and how they are stupid and funny. Join us on our merry journey through space and time. Hi, my name is Barry, and you might know me from not being on Twitter anymore because they suspended me permanently for reasons I don't understand because they never told me, but I'm fine. Don't worry, everything's fine.
Yeah, apparently Wardy is offensive, right?
Oh, I don't know. All I did in the last week was my Wordle results, so Wordle is offensive.
Wordler, yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Seamus. You may know me as middle-aged Ken from the deleted scenes of Barbie. So, hey, everybody.
Okay, we're not here to talk about Barbie.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I wrote a whole episode about Barbie and explaining how she's a CIA asset who turned Russian. No, we're not using that one, apparently. We're going to do this one instead about Oppenheimer.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little too close. I mean, I think we get in trouble. Just saying.
Let me know in the chat if you want to hear the Barbie episode.
Actually, this is all code for... Never mind. Anyways, yeah. Today we are going to chat about the subject of one of the summer's blockbusters. Originally, I had suggested that we covered the Meg 2, but Barbie convinced me that was, CIA documentary.
Just call me Barbie.
Huh?
Did you just call me
Barbie? I did
Barbie?
call you, but Barbie convinced me. Oh, sorry. Sorry,
Okay.
Barbie. Sorry, Barbie.
Okay. Just, everybody should call me Barbie from now on. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're good.
What's up, Barbie? Yeah.
the Latin,
Barbie.
from the Latin Barbie.
The Latin Barbie. But yeah, we decided that we better wait. Anyway, so today we're going to focus on J. I almost said JP. Wow. J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Of course. Yep. Of course, before Cillian Murphy brought him to life on the screen, Oppenheimer was well known for his contributions in quantum mechanics and nuclear physics.
Look at him.
That's
Cillian Murphy was a good cast for that, wasn't he?
Total hot piece of ass right there, man.
Okay.
Anyways.
Or I would have gone with that, but okay. He has a striking look.
He definitely does. His most notable and controversial achievement being the successful development of the atom bomb. So now, what's that?
Yeah, I was agreeing. I said yes.
Okay. Sorry, you just have so much pushback today, Barry. I'm just waiting for a fight. Jeez.
Anyways. I would have been much more animated and involved if we did my Barbie as a CIA asset script.
I know. Just give it time. Give it time.
Okay.
Now you may not know this, but prior to playing with Fat Man and Little Boy, J. Robbie was a bloody communist. Conrad Open the House was known to attend various leftist events, supported anti-fascist causes in the 1930s. He once claimed that he had been a member of just about every communist front organization on the West Coast.
He did say that, but he also said that he was joking.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yep. Which kind of makes sense because that being said, it appears that none of the U.S. intelligence agencies were able to make that connection. So, still, even if we can't be sure that he had the prestige of a card-carrying member of the Communist Party, many of Peeps were, as the kids would say, balls deep.
Balls deep in
yeah. This includes his brother Frank's girlfriend, Jean Tatlock, J. Rob's wife, Kathleen, a.k.a. Kitty. So
wait. So all these people, his brother and the brother's girlfriend and
his wife,
Oppenheimer's wife, were all definitely members of the Communist Party.
Yep.
Oh, okay. But he wasn't.
That's what it says. So, yeah,
sure.
That's what's in the script, man.
You wrote.
So now we're on to WW2, also known as The Wrath of Bad Mustaches.
The Wrath of Bad Mustaches.
Yeah, it's in full swing by then.
Did you write that? The Wrath of Bad Mustaches. Yes. That's brilliant.
So J to the power of Rob would begin work for the U.S. government. As previously discussed in our episode on the Palmer raids, America already experienced its first Red Scare.
You should definitely go when you're finished looking at this. Go and look at our episode on the Palmer raids. It is interesting and funny.
W2 not only led to the Battle of Dunkirk, but it also led to a pact with the Soviet Union. Still, many in power in America were still suspicious of alleged communists. General Leslie Groves Jr., who was chilling there with Oppenheimer.
He's in this Groves guy was the military guy in charge of the atomic bomb project, right?
Yep. Played by Matt Damon in the movie, so I don't know about that cast. Yeah. So I'm sure if Groves is alive today, he'd be more than okay with being Matt Damon cast. But Groves is aware of Oppenheimer's communist associations, but didn't consider them a major problem when selecting him to lead the Manhattan's project laboratory. Or some say that the need of his services outweighed the concerns. That's a fair debate. Maybe Groves saw Oppie as his Dark Knight.
We are you going to drop in Christopher Nolan jokes throughout the whole thing? Because we did another episode called Operation Paperclip. The whole thing of which is about whether or not the need for somebody's services can outweigh your concerns about their ideology.
Which maybe they used Oppenheimer as a case study for that, right? Maybe they referred to say, hey, we use this guy, why not? Maybe. I don't know that for a fact. Sounds right. In 46, the U.S. formed the Atomic Energies Commission, the AEC, to oversee the country's nuclear weapons program. Oppenheimer used his position on the commission to argue for more control of nuclear weapons against the inception of the hydrogen bomb.
Here we go. He's one of these. I get it, yeah, Christopher Nolan. He's one of these nuclear weapons control people. One of these liberals, soft on these things, because the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a nuclear weapon is a good guy with a nuclear weapon.
Exactly.
Atomic bombs don't kill people. People do.
First stage bomb was tested it for the first time in 52. Was it 52? I can't remember.
It says in the script, Seamus, that you gave me yesterday.
I know, but what did they tell us in episode 8? The birth of Bob and all that stuff. Was that 52? You don't remember that episode? Come on, the woodsman and the convenience store? No? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought it was 52. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'll have to watch it again now. Our beloved OG.
You have to watch it in the right place.
Oh, absolutely. Right from my mind, too.
Twin Peaks, in case you wonder what we're talking about.
Yeah, the return. Our beloved OG of OPP was opposed to pursuing the hydrogen bomb, the super bomb, citing that it was 1,000 times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
I like that he thinks that's a reason not to develop it. Meanwhile, the military are getting erections. 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima. Develop it now, faster.
Go on. Tell me more.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Will it blow up Russia?
He would raise concerns for potential destruction that an arms race to build bigger and bigger bombs would unleash. Boy. As our Dark Knight rises, he gains a following of other concerned folks. Businessman and pants enthusiast Lewis Strauss would become chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission.
Is it the same guy?
Yep, that's him.
Oh, okay.
That's
the jeans guy.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
He was not a fan of our old Oppie, my Warhammer pal, and his sudden distaste for bombs. So the Duke of Denham called for a security hearing to investigate Oppenheimer's loyalties. This was at the height of the second Red Scare, when Senator Joseph Hader of the Red Wings McCarthy held hearings to expose supposed communists and subversives. Sure, he wasn't a fan of red lights either. Now, before you take an intermission, let's bring on our returning champion to the mix. Oh, I gotta find him.
I'm going to be one of 3 people at this stage.
There he is. J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI. Right. Hoover would spearhead the investigation to Oppenheimer's background and association. In a letter to the AEC, Hoover stated, "We are dealing with a man who, in addition to bringing a security risk, is a political liability." So right out of the gate, Hoover's fuck this guy, right?
Political liability.
So,
Well, we don't want him for political reasons. We want him for his numbers crunching, right?
yeah. Hoover is already aware of J-Op
J-Op.
and his left leanings. He had looked at him before over concerns, what would be now called as the Cavalier incidents.
The Chevalier incident.
Chevalier. Goddamn, I knew I was going to butcher somebody's name.
It's actually the same word as Cavalier, but a different language. It's the same word.
Really?
Yes, it means horseman.
Interesting. Horseman.
Horseman, yeah. Cheval
So,
is the French word for a horse.
hey, Hakon, am I getting that right? Hakon Maurice.
I don't know what his
Chevalier?
first name is. On Maurice Chevalier.
H.
Maurice Chevalier was also a very famous French singer, who obviously is not this guy. That's Oppenheimer.
Oops. Oh, damn it. I'm feeling every way.
That's H.
There he
Maurice
is.
Chevalier. Maurice Chevalier, as far as I know, he was a French singer who had a song and he went to the top of the charts in like the 60s or something with a song called Thank Heaven for Little Girls because they turn into women. And that was back when you could do that.
Yeah.
Thank Heaven for Little Girls. And
Yeah.
that's a real story, but that's obviously not this guy. This guy's not a
That's
terrorist.
Yeah. That's
Maurice Chevalier.
trouble. That's trouble. Anyways, this gentleman was an American writer, translator, and professor of French literature
Okay.
at the University of California, Berkeley. He met Oppenheimer in 1937 at Berkeley while he was associate professor of Romance languages. Together, and Oppenheimer, if nobody knows, is a super well-read dude, just super curious about everything, just super smart guy. But, not just physics and sciences.
Apparently, he got that from his domestic life, from his parents.
Yeah.
Who were
Smart dude.
intellectuals, and also had a very keen sense of aesthetics and art and literature and so on.
Yeah. But seemed to wear the same shit all the time. Anyways, fashion of never, Anyway. Together, Chevalier and Cheval and Oppenheimer found Berkeley branch of teachers union and.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. Did you say the U word?
Yep, the union. They founded the union together. Yep, which sponsored benefits from left causes.
Himself and this Chevalier guy set up a union.
Yep, for Berkeley.
What could be more communist?
Teachers union. Evil,
yes.
Right? It's either, we're not sure if it's either January or February, but around that time in 1943.
Right in the middle of the war.
Yep. Chevelle had a, I'm just going to say his name different every time.
Why don't you say his name?
Brief conversation.
I'll stop correcting you. Like, you pronounce it any way you want. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what? He's American, so he might actually have pronounced that Chevalier.
Chevalier.
I'm just reading it as Chevalier because to me that's a French word. Yeah.
Chevalier.
Chevy. That's even better. Chevy.
Chevy. Hey, Chevy. So Chevy had a brief conversation with Oppenheimer in his kitchen at his home. Chevy told Oppenheimer that there was a scientist named George Eltington. I'm going to butcher his name too. Who also, I believe, he was a British scientist that got in trouble for messing with the Soviets, but that he could transmit information of technical nature to the Soviets. Oppenheimer rejected this overture, but failed to report it until 1943.
Is Chevalier recruiting Oppenheimer into a double agent scenario?
Yes, that's the plan. Yep.
Thank you.
So, in 1943, he finally volunteers to the Manhattan Project that three men at Berkeley had solicited for nuclear secrets on the behalf of the Soviets by a person that he did not know who worked for Shell Oil. It was good to throw them under the bus. Who had communist connections.
So he lied because it was actually Chevalier.
Yep.
Okay.
He gave the person's name as George Eltington, which that part is real. He pressured the issue.
He never met Eltington though.
Exactly.
Okay.
He pressed on the issue in later interviews in Los Alamos, December of 1943, with Groves, who promised to keep the identity of the three men from the FBI. Oppenheimer identified the contact who approached him as Chevy, and it seemed Groves had concerns of Oppenheimer, seemed Groves had considered Oppenheimer too important to be winning to the war to oust him over any suspicious behavior. He had ordered on the 20th of July, 1943, that Oppenheimer would be given security clearance without delay in respect of information which you have concerns, Mr. Oppenheimer. He is absolutely essential to the project.
So his big crime here really is failing to report.
Yep.
Meet the meeting, yeah. But failing to report it,
Yep.
that's a little bit, that phrase on its own that he failed to report it is a little bit Stalin-y, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little troublesome, right?
Like, he didn't do anything. He just heard about somebody else doing something.
Yep.
I don't know. That's not really... No, go on.
Nope. I'm sorry. I just.
I mean, that's not the end of the world.
I'm tired
Maybe you're tired of
looking at Chevy, so I'm gonna put another picture.
Okay.
Up.
Look at that.
So
He's got a hell of a look.
yeah, that's older up.
Yeah, I hope so. Otherwise, he's in trouble. Yeah.
Oppen to the Hammer resigned his position at Los Alamos in 1945. When he left, he warned, if atomic weapons are added as new weapons of war to the arsenal of warring worlds, the time will come when mankind will curse the names of Los Alamos and Hiroshima.
Wait a minute. Why is anybody going to curse the name of Hiroshima? They didn't do anything.
Yeah,
that's a little bit, the time will come when mankind will curse the names of Los Alamos and Hiroshima. That's a little bit of shade on Hiroshima. Someone you don't like, just stick him at the end, The time has come when the history will curse the names of Adolf Hitler and Seamus. Like, why am I throwing you into that part?
Yeah, really. I mean, Oppenheimer's not a perfect dude. There's a lot of problems here. We can kind of, debate that maybe when we're done with this, but yeah.
Photo.
Yeah, right? Later that month, maybe 28 days later, he went to Washington.
You've gone away from Christopher Nolan movies. You've moved into Cillian Murphy movies, is it?
Maybe. Oppenheimer met with President Truman. He told the president, I feel as though I have blood on my hands. Truman replied, the blood was on his hands, in fact, and let me worry about that. Truman, ever the douche, would later refer in a letter about Oppenheimer as a crybaby scientist.
Well, I'll say this about Oppenheimer. Of all the problems we have with him and all his faults and failings, I would never describe him as a crybaby scientist. No. If anything, the complete opposite.
Fucking Truman, what a piece of shit. Anyways, Oppenheimer's outspokenness against death and mayhem attracted the attention of J. Edgar Hoover because,
that's like that. His outspokenness against death and mayhem attracted the attention of the FBI. Wait a minute, this guy's against death and mayhem? Doesn't he know about the Americans?
He sent a 3-page summary of the FBI files on him to Truman in November 1945. Hoover then began pushing the narrative that Oppenheimer might, in fact, be preparing to defect to the Soviet Union.
Is there any evidence for that?
No. In fact, about this time, he began writing about what a shithole the Soviet Union was, and how it was a failed enterprise.
So this is all just Hoover's fevered heat of
he's just trying to paint this guy as bad as he can. So Hoover approved wiretapping of Oppenheimer's home in Berkeley. Over the next 8 years, the FBI file on Oppenheimer would grow, including several thousand pages of wiretap manuscripts, memos, and surveillance reports.
8 years?
Yep.
After 1945?
Yep.
That's
started
8 years.
Yeah. Started in 1945. Yep.
Okay.
Or actually 1946. Sorry.
Okay. 46 plus 8 is
50. No, we're still at 1945. We're still at 1945.
1953, just in time for the coup in Iran.
But now, put things in perspective. But now
that yanks things out of perspective.
Yeah, no, I said puts it in perspective. But now we're into June 1946. Two FBI agents dropped by the house of Chevy, and Chevy was questioned. Took him to the levee about his conversations with Oppenheimer.
How did they find out? How did the FBI agents find out about that?
I'm not 100% sure.
But they didn't get it from Groves, right?
I don't believe so. Okay. I mean, it's possible, but maybe they were just anybody that had connections with them. And obviously,
what is it about this conversation with Oppenheimer? They must have been known about what happened in the kitchen.
Yeah, maybe. Do they know what happened in the kitchen with Dinah, though? I've been wondering.
Playing on the old banjo.
Yeah. I mean, who was that? Who was playing the banjo?
Well, I don't know, but he was definitely engaged with Dinah in the kitchen in some way.
Yeah, I know. She's a whore. What the hell? Anyways, sorry. Oppenheimer. I'm not slut shaming.
We don't know. Maybe she loved the guy.
She was cheating on the guy that was working on the railroad. Did you listen to the song?
I've heard different versions.
Okay. You listen how you want to. I'm just telling you that's how I took the song.
I'm on Team Dinah, hashtag.
Team Time.
And it was framed.
So, anyways, yeah, Chevy spills the beans about the discussion with Oppenheimer.
Okay.
September, they interviewed Oppenheimer about this, and he admits, yeah, he lied. He fucked up.
Okay.
He told the agents he had cohorted the story earlier in order to protect his buddy Chevy.
Okay.
So Oppenheimer was
understandable.
but now he's recorded as lying to the military intelligence back in 1943. So, yeah, no. Despite the security concerns of Hoover and others, Oppenheimer still held his Q, which is atomic level security clearance, and was chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission, General
We still had all
Advisory
these
Committee.
even throughout the surveillance. He had all these positions. Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay, that's weird.
Yep.
Okay.
Later, it was discovered that the Soviet Union had stolen secrets from Los Alamos. This opened the door for even more scrutiny about Oppenheimer, right?
How did they manage that?
I don't know. I couldn't find it. I'm sure
That thing was
maybe it's there, but
tighter
that's
than
it.
a duck's backside.
So now Hoover makes his case against to Jay opt out of war crimes with a document that would go on to be called Borden's Letter. Now, on November 7th, 1953, J. Edgar Hoover sent a letter concerning Oppenheimer by William Leacham Borden, the former executive of Congress Joint Atomic Energy Committee. In the letter, Borden stated his opinion based upon years of study of the available classified evidence. There are more probable than not J. Robert Oppenheimer is agent of the Soviet Union. So, it's clear that Hoover saw J. Op the Chill as an issue. You might say that he even saw him as the wind that shakes the barley,
Okay.
or something seen through Peaky Blinders.
There we go.
Just go pigs. Anyways,
You just went through IMDb, did you? That's what I did.
I have some of these films actually.
Mm.
I haven't seen Disco Pigs. The letter was
neither have I.
based upon. Okay, what's the one where he's a drag queen and Liam Neeson's chasing him? Something on Pluto, maybe.
Breakfast.
Breakfast on Pluto. Okay, I want to see that. I haven't seen it. Anyways, the letter is based on government's massive intelligence dossier on Oppenheimer. His office and home had been bugged, and his telephone tapped, and his mail open.
No.
So
We have to say that you will notice that there has not been an ad yet, and there
Nope.
will not be. And in our episodes that are not sponsored, what we do is we put together a top 10. Top 10 claims in Borden's letter. Dun, 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 dun. Number 1, dun, 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 that there was evidence that Up in My Mind, Not My Heart had made substantial contributions to the Communist Party. Dun, 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 dun. Is that true? Is there any evidence that he made any contributions to the Communist Party?
yeah, he gave lots of money to him. I think that
Okay,
was the
cool.
first thing. Yeah.
The second claim, which may also be accurate, is that he had family as card-carrying members. Well, it is accurate. Yes. 3, he had at least one. He had at least one side chick that was a communist.
Yep.
Well, haven't we all? That he recruited members for the Communist Party. Did he do that?
Mhm.
So far, all these claims are true.
Well, he recruited for leftist organizations. You could argue. whether
Okay.
or not.
Again, who amongst us hasn't recruited somebody for the Communist Party? I mean, that's,
I think a lot of it's like an exaggeration, like on the unions and stuff like that.
you're basically
That's
asking
how
people,
I read
have you
it.
been to university, right?
Exactly. Thank you. Okay.
And the 5, he was in frequent contact with Soviet espionage agents.
No evidence of that.
And number 6, in May 1942, he either stopped contributing funds to the Communist Party or else made his contributions through a new channel not yet discovered.
He definitely stopped. We don't know about the other part.
When you say
He
made his
stopped that.
contributions through a new channel not yet discovered, that's like saying, I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you could say that about anybody, anything. I could say Seamus makes contributions to the Wildlife Fund through a new channel not yet discovered, and that just covers everything. Number 7, he was responsible for employing a number of communists, some of them not technical, at wartime Los Alamos.
I don't know about anything regarding that.
I mean, I'm sure
So,
there was communists in there, but they wouldn't have been Soviet
Yeah.
agents. They would have been communists like American communists, you know?
right.
He was, and number 8, he was a vigorous supporter of the H-bomb program until August 6, 1945, Hiroshima, on which day he personally urged each senior individual working in this field to desist.
We'll get into that.
Okay. Number 9, he was an enthusiastic supporter of the A-bomb program until the war ended, when he immediately and outspokenly advocated the Los Alamos lab be disbanded.
I believe that's true.
And the last claim in Borden's letter, 10, he has used his potent influence against every major post-war effort towards atomic power development, including the nuclear-powered submarine and aircraft programs, as well as industrial power projects.
Yep. So that's the top 10.
The top 10
Right.
claims in Borden's letter, most of which are apparently true if you are to be believed, Seamus.
Would you like to read how the letter concluded there?
Is this the bonus?
Yep.
The bonus round is the conclusion of the letter, which says, between 1939 and mid-1942, more probable than not, J. Robert Oppenheimer was a sufficiently hardened communist that he either volunteered espionage information to the Soviets or complied with a request for such information. This includes the possibility that when he singled out the weapons aspect of atomic development as his personal speciality, he was acting under Soviet instructions. More probable than not, he has since been functioning as an espionage agent, and more probable than not, he has since acted under a Soviet directive in influencing United States military, atomic energy, intelligence, and diplomatic policy.
Severe damning stuff, right?
Yeah, it's pretty nasty, especially for a guy who's like on the board of the Atomic Energy Commission and
right. Obviously, he's against it all, right?
Yeah.
The contents of the letter were not new. I mean, most of it, right? Some had been known when Oppenheimer was first cleared for atomic war work. Yet the information had not prompted anyone to seek his removal from government service, despite the lack of significant new evidence. Eisenhower was troubled by the possibility, that the charges might be true, and worried about appearing weak in the environment of McCarthyism. Accordingly, on December 3rd, 1953, Eisenhower ordered a blank wall be placed between Oppenheimer and the nation's atomic secrets. So, they commissioned...
Oppenheimer is the country's atomic secrets.
Yeah. So, he's pretty much exiled, right? They have this investigation, the board, these hearings, right? Oppenheimer's clearance was officially revoked by a 2-1 vote of the panel. The board rendered its decision on May 27th, 1954.
1954, okay.
Yep. It found that 20 of the 24 charges were either true or substantially true. The board found that while he had been opposed to the H-bomb, his lack of enthusiasm for it affected the attitude of other scientists. He had not actively discouraged scientists from working on the H-bomb. As one charge alleged, right? There is no evidence that he was a member of the Communist Party in the strict sense of the word, and concluded that he is a loyal citizen. It said that he had a high degree of discretion, reflection, and an unusual ability to keep to himself vital secrets. But he had a tendency to be concerned, or at least influenced in conduct for a period of years.
What do they mean by coerced?
So I think that's their kind of caveat or explanation. So, well, he sort of was on the side of communism in the beginning, but he's not anymore. He's come to his senses.
Coerced by whom? I mean, the one time he actually was coerced, he didn't do anything by Eltonton and Chevalier.
Exactly. So,
okay,
yeah. In 1954, the government revoked his security clearance, making him one of many people blacklisted during this era. With the revocation of his security clearance, Oppenheimer could no longer serve on the Atomic Energy Commission. This would end his career working with the government.
Okay.
Hoover and his G-men kept on OPP for years. Quote, the FBI's investigation of me took place for a span from the spring of 54 through January of 56, which during this time I was continually under surveillance and my associates were questioned. J. Oppenheimer. I'm sure this caused him some insomnia.
Yeah.
Even though President John F. Kennedy, awarded Oppenheimer with the Enrico Fermi Award for scientific achievement and leadership in '63, Oppenheimer never regained his security clearance. He continued to speak and write about physics and nuclear technology, but was never seen the same, right? Until his death in '67 at the age of 62. It wasn't until December 2022 that the United States Department of Energy, just fucking last year, vacated the
Last
decision to
year.
revoke Oppenheimer's security clearance. It officially acknowledged that the hearing had been unfair.
Oh, good. Nice one.
This was a decision of the scientific. This decision was pretty much on par with what the scientists and historians had long believed about
Okay.
what the U.S. had done for it. So
I think a lot of the time in America, like if they call you a communist, they mean you're a Soviet agent. But a lot of American communists don't give a damn about the Soviet Russians or anything. They're just trying to organize workers on the ground. They're union workers and trade unions and socialists and so on. That's the kind of communists they are. They're not like red agents trying to unbalance the American government or anything. They're just trying to get workers to unite.
Yeah, and I mean it sucks. I mean you could pretty much say that this reinstatement of his clearance was just a post-posthumous memento.
Oh, come on! You know what? I was waiting for that. I was waiting for memento, and I was thinking, how's he going to do it? And you did it. Well done.
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's
So,
good. I like it when a script has evidence that like somebody put work into it. Well done.
Thank you. The only thing is, I mean, obviously, I think this is kind of addressed in the film, which I've yet to see. I do want to see. Did his sudden change in the whole thing about the war, or at least the bomb, was genuine, or was it something that he just wanted to like cleanse his own guilt? Did he actually have guilt, or was this idea of, well, I'm not going to be the one that's going to be in charge of it? So
I think every depiction of him I've seen after the Los Alamos project could be subtitled "A Haunted Man."
Yeah.
So I'd say he actually felt bad about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't seen the movie either, by the way. So I don't know.
Yeah. How could you not? I mean,
I haven't seen it yet.
God damn. No, I'm talking about fucking killing.
I feel guilty. Oh, I'll see the movie when the illegal streams go from the shaky cam to the Blu-ray rip. Yeah.
Did you? I thought I sent this to you. It was on Twitter. Well, before you weren't on Twitter.
I don't know anything about Twitter anymore.
Yeah, but they had. You remember the famous show? Well, you may not remember it, but I'm sure you're aware of this show called "This Is Your Life." Was basically they would have people on there, and they might have like their high school teacher or coach or somebody in their significant in their life, and they'd be behind a screen and they would say something, right?
Yes,
and,
I've seen the English version of that.
Right, and they would come out. So this guy survives Hiroshima.
Oh,
and he is going around talking about how horrible it was, and bombs, nuclear things, bad idea, right? So he comes to America, and they have him on that show, and they have the pilot of the Enola Gay come out as one of the people. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? Should we share that?
How long is it?
It's only like 2 minutes tops.
Do it. Yeah.
All right, so that's the tweet, so everybody can see what
Twitter looks like.
Kayosha Tamamoto. How's that?
Yoshi Tanimoto.
All right, not too bad. So here we go.
A man whose second of eternity was woven up with yours, Reverend Tanimoto. Now, you've never met him, have never seen him, but he's here tonight to clasp your hand in friendship. Captain Robert Lewis, United States Air Force, who along with Paul Tibbets piloted the plane from which the first atomic power was dropped over Hiroshima.
So done with that, the transition music.
Captain Lewis, come in here close, and would you tell us, sir, of your experience on August 6, 1945?
Well, Mr. Edwards, we left Tinian in the Mariana Islands at about 2:45 in the morning on August the 6th, 1945. Our destination was Japan. We had 3 targets. One was Hiroshima, one was Nagasaki, one was Kokura. About an hour before we hit the coastline of Japan, we were notified that Hiroshima was clear. Therefore, Hiroshima became our target. Just before 8:15 a.m. Tokyo time, Tom Farabee, a very able bombardier, carefully aimed at his target, which was the second Imperial Japanese Army headquarters. 8:15 promptly, the bomb was dropped. We turned fast to get out of the way of the deadly radiation and bomb effects. First was a big flash that we got, and then the 2 concussion waves hit the ship. Shortly after, we turned back to see what had happened. And there in front of our eyes, the city of Hiroshima disappeared.
Now, you entered something in your log at that time.
As I said before, Mr. Edwards, I wrote down later, my God, what have we done?
And so, Reverend Tanimoto, you on the ground, and you on your military mission, Captain Lewis, in the air.
Jesus, that was a rough watch.
I mean, what the fuck, man?
That is
That's
rough,
fucking
man.
gross. So apparently the Army put this guy up to doing it because they were trying to discredit him going around and doing propaganda, the anti-nuclear propaganda. How fucking gross is that? How gross is that?
It's a rough watch.
How does that guy not punch him? You know what I mean? How could you not punch that guy?
It's not his fault.
Yeah, he should have said no. If he felt that so bad about doing that, he should have said no. I'm not doing it.
I think
So gross.
the standard war protocol is you don't hold soldiers accountable for the decisions of their orders. You hold the guys who gave the orders accountable.
I don't know, man.
Even if it's like war crimes, apparently that's what they do, isn't it? They put the generals on trial, or they put the guys who made the decisions.
I don't know. I don't know how you not take something out on that guy. I mean, he's taking it one step further by coming on there and talking about it like so nonchalant.
Well, at least he has the decency to look upset. He wasn't saying like, "Yay!" You know, he was like, and then I looked back and I was like, "Oh Jesus!" You know, like that's something. It's not nothing.
I don't know. I don't like any of it. It's fucking.
I don't like it either. No.
Hey, let's talk about something else.
That whole thing was shady as balls.
Yeah.
You know, that the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and that was supposed to be the revenge attack, right? The Japanese attacked a military target thousands of miles away from the mainland.
Yep.
And the Americans, in revenge, dropped an atomic weapon on a concentrated civilian population on the mainland of Japan. It's a fucking war crime. Yep. And there'll be people there who'll tell you, oh, no, it had to be done. No, it didn't. The Japanese were going to surrender anyway because of Stalin.
Yep.
They were terrified of Stalin, as indeed anybody who Stalin look in the direction of Stalin should be.
Yep. Not just one bomb, 2. We dropped 2 bombs.
2, yeah.
And the same conditions of surrender were the same conditions we agreed to before both bombs.
Yep. And their first, the reaction of the Japanese top brass, apparently, Tojo and the other guy, whatever his name was, I forget his name, he was to be kind of not that bothered by it, because Tokyo and a lot of their cities have been subject to pretty blanket firebombing for a long time before they dropped the atomic bomb. And when somebody told them that, oh, they dropped this atomic bomb in Hiroshima, and Hiroshima has been decimated, they were just like, kind of, oh, it must be Tuesday, you know. It was only afterwards they realized that what you're going to get now is cancer for 50 years.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knew what they did or what they really did until afterwards. You know what I mean? Very few people really understand.
The whole thing was shady as balls, man. Don't let anybody tell you it had to be done. Don't let anybody tell you that they had to do it because the Japanese are animals and they don't have any word for surrender. All this racist horse shit.
You mean everything that Truman said about it?
Yeah.
And him like practically masturbating, you know, about the news of it being dropped.
Oh my god.
That's the fucking gross.
They have no word for surrender.
They're
not animals.
You could make by that decision alone might make him the worst.
They were fascist, though. They were fascist.
Oh,
expansionist.
I'm not. There's a lot of problems with the Japanese leadership at that time. Not cool. Yeah,
blowing up civilians is not the way to handle that.
Yeah. Anywho,
well, that's the Oppenheimer script. So now I guess we can drift on to the what happens now part. What's new? Sorry. Okay. What's new? Just before every podcast, I put CIA into Google and hit the news tab, and Seamus puts FBI into Google and hits the news tab. Then we pick 2 or 3 stories we think might be interesting or funny. We haven't told each other what these stories are, so we're hearing for the first time now, just like you. So Seamus, will we do FBI or CIA first?
Your call, bud.
I will go first today.
Okay.
I have 2 stories. This is from the Times of Israel. It says, new JFK documents reveal assassin's CIA monitor was Jewish spy Reuben Efron. The first paragraph is, I know, right? There's just a lot to unpack there. For decades, armchair analysts scrutinizing the mysteries of former US President John F. Kennedy's assassination have fixated on who exactly opened his future assassin's mail while he was under CIA surveillance ahead of the shooting. And it goes on to talk about this Jewish guy, which I guess is why the Times of Israel is interested in the story.
Yeah, right.
Look at that. If that sounds sufficiently niche for you, then you should check that out. Another one is Biden's elevation to cabinet of CIA Director William Burns is a positive sign for U.S. national security.
Is it?
And it's written by a guy whose real name is apparently Main Prize. Like, that's his real name. Who wrote this piece? Not who's anything to do with the story. He just wrote this. He's the writer. Last month, the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, William Burns, who has starred in pretty much every What's New for the last 6 or 7 episodes, because he's doing a tour of the world, meeting people in China and Libya and Israel. Anyway, last night, this guy called William Burns, last month, was elevated to a position in President Biden's cabinet. The move is a victory for human intelligence, and reflects President Biden's more agreeable relationship with and trust in the CIA compared with many of his predecessors. While it might not lead to greater influence on U.S. foreign policy by the CIA, the move does potentially strengthen the White House's ability to predict and react to foreign conflicts and threats. And that's something you should look up if you think that might be interesting to you. That's my stories.
Okay.
How's the FBI looking like this week?
I got 3 FBI and I got 1 honorable mention. So.
Fantastic.
So there's just been this shooting involving the FBI in Oregon some time ago, and the FBI is trying to close it out, but I guess that there's a lot of calls for investigation in it still.
Okay.
We might have mentioned this before, I'm not sure. But this is back in looks like August of 2019, and there's still some questions that haven't been answered. There's a call for new limits that should be placed on US's use, or FBI's use of U.S. foreign spy data, which is a recurring theme that we've addressed here.
Foreign spy data.
So this is also going to sound interesting and might be a future episode. After his mother asked for help, FBI terrorist sting targets mentally ill teen. She said that 2 FBI informants groomed her son, then waited until a day on his 18th birthday to spring a trap and arrest him for terrorism.
We have spoken about FBI entrapment before.
Yep. So
people into doing crimes.
Yep. I don't know if to share the screen about this because I'm just kind of Yeah, I think I'm going to. So we did this thing recently. We watched a film.
Yes.
And then we had some not so good things to say about everybody involved.
We did. We trashed it. We trashed everybody involved with it.
And hey, looky, I hate to be happy about a crime, but you know.
Oh, the headline says Sound of Freedom funder Fabian Marta arrested for child kidnapping, and then the subtitle says the 51-year-old Missouri resident was charged in late July after apparently contributing to the film about child sex trafficking. Well, now doesn't that add up? Isn't that about the size of it?
So projection much? I don't know. Interesting.
Well, it's come to the stage where if you see somebody like calling somebody else a groomer, I wouldn't let kids around that person.
Yeah. So I'm sure more shit's gonna fall from them because there's
from the Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, there's a lot.
No doubt.
There. Yeah, I mean Tim Ballard's a scumbag. So
is that it? Is that our episode?
I think that's our episode, folks.
Okay.
Thanks, so we'll be here next week. It'll be your episode, Barry.
In 2 weeks or next week?
2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
Cool.
We'll be
which
doing.
Which one of mine is up next?
You want me to tell them, or do you want to tell them? Or do you know?
Which one is it?
Mongoose, isn't it?
Oh, Operation Mongoose. Yeah, you like it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Alrighty, folks. Until then.
Thank you.
Later.